All right, we're live now. Hello, this is Ross Payton with Ludonarrative Dissidents, and we are live here for our June monthly live stream. And let me post it on the NPR. We're live now.
Yeah, can you stick the link that I can
all right,
stick up on Blue Sky and Masto and
let's see here.
It was in the thing I tweeted earlier.
Yeah,
less than an hour ago.
Here, I'll post it in the RCast chat. So yeah. So
okay,
yeah,
that I retweeted.
Yeah. All right.
Try and put it on Masto. I'm gonna try and
I believe in
my feeble social media grasp.
Yeah. We gotta give people a minute or two to show up. So before we get into the stuff, because we have a grab bag of stuff to talk about as always. Hello, good morning. Monster Chef Alex.
Monster Chef Alex.
Hey. Chef Alex.
If it is morning where you are, where are you, Monster Chef Alex?
Oh yeah. God, what would it be morning? Maybe Asia. I don't know. When is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Australia, possibly.
Australia.
I refuse to believe in morning. The darkness.
It is 7 a.m. in Australia, so I guess it could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
The darkness has fallen. It is never too.
Melbourne. Oh, fantastic!
Well, there you go.
Melbourne. Monster Chef Alex, I am so sorry about the cricket, but man, South Africa played a game. That was really something. And that's all I'm going to say about cricket.
Wait,
holy shit, that was
cricket's real.
It is real.
Yes. There is
something they
you want
made
some
up
laughs?
Yeah.
The Nordic inter-country cricket competition is underway right now, which Denmark will win, and Norway and Sweden will compete for being least worst cricket size in Scandinavia. It's cricket. It's still fun, but it is. If you're going from Australia, South Africa to watching Norway, Sweden, that is the sublime to the ridiculous.
You talk about cricket, and all I hear is that trombone from the old Charlie Brown cartoons.
Yeah,
I thought cricket was just something they made up to scare kids. Like
I have not seen a full match, but I have seen highlights on YouTube, mostly of hilarious cricket fumbles and injuries. Those people getting hit by those balls is definitely not a joke for them.
No.
What's the worst cricket injury y'all have seen?
Lots of attacks to the manhood, I'll say.
Okay.
I mean, people getting hit in the head by balls traveling 90 miles an hour.
Okay, and a cricket ball is, no kidding, a hard wooden ball.
It is a thin layer of leather around wood, basically.
Okay, yeah, so that'll convey some momentum. Yeah. All right.
There's a reason they wear safety helmets.
Are there cricket-based fatalities?
I don't think it's that dangerous. But I don't know.
I seem to recall there was a guy who died of a heart attack. He had a ridiculously young age, undetected heart defect a few years ago, but that's the only thing that comes to mind.
Can you blame the cricket for that? I mean, the last baseball fatality I remember was actually a high school kid got hit in the chest, and it just off-switched him.
Yep.
So...
Anyway, I'm actually really interested to hear James's stories, because he just went to one of the one of the biggest. It's now one of the biggest in the world for tabletop gaming.
What's it like going to a giant game show in the almost free world? Tell us, for those for those of us stuck here in America.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I've been going for the last few years. I've watched it grow, and the show is less than 20 years old. It hasn't been running that long compared to Essen, compared to Gen Con, compared to Origins, and it has grown from literally about 50 people in a room up to 42,000 uniques or 62,000 turnstile, which is. That's not within range of Gen Con or Essen yet, but it is so far beyond PAX Unplugged and Origins. It's just they're kind of in a league of their own. It was interesting this year, and I heard this from a number of people as well as thinking it myself. this was the first year that as a professional, you could no longer just walk around the show and think it's fine. I don't have to make an appointment to see X. I'll run into them, because you could not rely on that anymore. It is so big. That is for me is the tipping point. It is now a big show. They changed the layout. Vendors, I think, previously it had been. It's the NEC. It's a massive purpose-built. I think it is the biggest purpose-built convention center in the UK. It's on its own campus. It has multiple hotels. It's just outside Birmingham. Usually it's halls 1, 2, and 3, and 1 is on a lower level, but someone else had booked hall 1, and then, as it turned out, had cancelled the booking at short notice. And the rumor, and I stress this is a rumor, is that it was Tesla. So hall 1 was essentially unoccupied, and UK Games Expo took it back over for just ticketing and the bring and buy.
James,
and this is a massive convention hall.
James, I don't care if it's true or not.
What it did mean is the rest of the...
Hearing that made it feel like glitter was exploding out of my heart.
Yeah.
It's a good story. But what it meant was, for the first time, the rest of the show was simply on one level, in essentially one hall, because yes, it's halls 2, 3, and 4, but they can wheel back the walls because it's a purpose-built convention center. So it was one massive elongated space.
Turn it into just
a
giant COVID super cooker.
Pretty much. I heard from a couple of people. I don't think it was too bad in terms of transmissibility.
Excellent.
It's very much. It's not. Sorry.
Tell me 3 cool things you saw.
Yeah.
Okay. The Almanac of Sanguine Paths. I blagged a copy of. This is a beautiful, beautiful solo journaling game by Rory Montford, who has just released the sequel, which is called Dead Letter Society. This one is Oh, You're a Werewolf, the solo journaling game, and Dead Letter Society is Oh, You're a Vampire, which is an interesting choice because 1,000-Year-Old Vampire is already there for solo journaling, but it takes a very different attitude to it. But the presentation of this, the artwork, the style of it, it's beautifully, beautifully presented. I think it was originally Kickstarted, and it's out in small quantities in retail in the UK. But I'm trying to find some good
lucky limeys,
good pictures. Yeah, it's so atmospheric as a piece of presentation. Right. And again, we think of 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. This is, I don't think it's damning with faint praise to say it's almost as beautiful a book as 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. This is a really, really nice piece of work.
I think if you're going to move in that space, man, you got to come correct. You got to move hard. I've got Tales from the Gods, which the cover's beautiful. The interior, I'm like, you could have. It's I still want to play it. I still want to play it. You know, sometime we should do a live stream where it's just like James playing his what was it? The sanguine thing stuff.
The Almanac of Sanguine Paths.
The Almanac
rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's lovely.
The
mouthfeel of that phrase is just delightful. Say it, everyone. Say it to yourselves. You know, Almanac. Go to your window, roll out the window, stick your head out and yell, Almanac of Sanguine Paths.
Almanac of Sanguine Paths. So we could do one with, you reading the prompts from that to Ross. And then we could do one with me reading the prompts from Tales of the Gods to you.
that sounds
good. Would that work for an hour-long live stream, Ross? Well, I don't know. What do you think?
We'll talk about it for after this episode.
We'll talk about it off camera.
It's just a thought.
The coolest thing I saw, and this is being done in very limited quantities at the moment by a small company called, and I can never remember their name, Anomalia Games. That is the emergency role-playing kit, the emergency role-playing game. And yes, it's in a tin can. And yes, there's a plastic lid on it, but no, that is a proper sealed tin can, and it rattles. And it's not. So there's the emergency role-playing game, and then they also gave me the 2 arms version. They've done 4 of these in different, So you stack these in with your baked beans and your pork in brine or whatever it is, with your emergency supplies for the end of the world. What I said I would do.
Yeah.
I've not seen one of these open, so I'm actually going to open this on air. For viewers listening in black and white, James is holding what looks like a tin can and opening it. Here we go. Okay.
If fruit and heavy syrup spills out of that, I'm gonna laugh my ass.
4 pencils.
Oh, but they're golf pencils.
They're golf pencils. Quite a
What's an
few
emergency?
dice. There's more dice in there, but they're stuck. Not surprising because Animalia is the sister company of Barrel of Dice. I happen to have that sticker on my desk anyway. More things. I'm guessing that's an eraser, but the meat of it inside, and they're wedged in there pretty. These must be rule books. No, they're just going round and round. They don't want to come out. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so you get the hidden secret. This adventure uses ad libs. So
you gotta hold it up higher.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
The missing thing, lost friend, home in threat, and the instruction manual.
Oh, okay.
Which is, it's only 40 pages.
Only.
They did talk me through this. It's 40 pages of quite large type. This is an easily grasped game, but it's doing some really interesting, clever narrative things with the mechanics. This is not your number crunchy game, despite the fact that it uses a full set of polyhedrals. Not a lot of artwork in there. It's a first-time production by the designer, whose name is not actually credited on the pack, but I think is on the tin somewhere. Yeah, just as a collectible, they are selling this. That's the other thing. What do you reckon the retail price on that is?
$20 or equivalent.
Yeah, actually, 15
quid. How much?
£15.
15
pounds. And they're doing this. They're not making many of these. A quid is a pound. Yes. And there's a checklist. There are. Oh, that's your character sheet.
Aww, that's adorable.
I love it. And there's a pack, and you get a pack of them as well.
Okay.
This was absolutely hands down the coolest thing.
One of the comments is an unboxing video, and my first thought was, if this was an unboxing video, does that mean we're going to walk out of this with greater mental acuity and more teeth than we came in?
Yes, 2015. I remember those days. So I haven't had a chance to obviously I haven't had a chance to play. I've only just literally taken it out of the tin.
Yeah.
Oh, smells fresh.
Ooh.
I was gonna say, what does it smell like?
It smells like a tin can and A4 paper. It smells to be honest like fairly standard, printed paper. Is so that a third? Yeah.
So our note.
No, this is not. Sorry, someone was asking whether this is a third of A4. No, it's not. I don't know what paper size this is. But
8.5 by 11, maybe, like American letter size.
Could be, but they're a British company, so we don't have letter paper over here. Unless you want to pay really stupid money for it, or pay a printer to actually cut down paper to that size. It's not really. There's not a huge amount of actual text here, but the impression I'm getting already is it's dense stuff. They're packing an awful lot into a tin can. And it does come with a plastic lid, so you can reseal it afterwards.
Right. I was going to say, all right, what if they're going to, in their next edition, the next evolution of this, add just like a drop of some artificial scent to each can so that you crack it up and you're like, oh, yeah, that's gaming. What would the smell of gaming be if it's not Cheetos or body odor? What is the positive smell of gaming?
Oh, there's a website.
There's a website about the smell of gaming?
No, about the they don't they have emergencyroleplayinggame.com. Let me pull it back up. They have a website, but they haven't activated it yet. So it's just
I did look up the URL that's on the can, and there's nothing there yet.
I think gonna say,
they're not releasing this to retail. This is not widely available. They're just showing it off.
They could make it smell like a freshly sharpened pencil when you crack it open.
They are launching a Kickstart or a backer kit in a month, it looks like. So
James, tell them to make it smell like pencils as a
I will do that.
Yeah.
Pencils or What would the odor of high school be?
Oh no, no,
No,
Pencils,
okay,
no. You want stationery shop or
It's the station- Yeah.
Stationary
dice.
shop.
Yeah.
There you go.
But there was, I did
Smell
see
of bookstore.
I did see a company doing cologne for gamers, essentially, or scents for gamers.
Yeah, there's been scented candles
yeah.
that have been game themed for a
Yeah.
while now.
No, this
I've
was
seen a lot of
sprayed
Call of
on
Cthulhu
stuff.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I've seen,
I want to smell like a dungeon for my date. Yes.
I'm going to put all this back in the can. I'm going to
Yeah,
see if
yeah,
I can put all of this back in the can.
Oh man.
But anyway, what else have I been doing? Earlier this week, I went to the cinema to see Star Wars. Not Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, but a movie called Star Wars, as it was released in 1977, because the British Film Institute had got permission from Disney to show their ex-distribution print of the original film, unedited, unmucked about. It was clearly, for a number of people in the audience, this was like a religious experience.
Did you notice Kathleen Kennedy was there? The Lucasfilm
I don't think she. Apparently, she was in an earlier, kind of an industry-only screening. She was at the screening we were at. There was the chairman of the British Film Institute and the head of the archive, but I don't think there was anyone from Disney speaking, unless I have just blotted it from memory. But no, I mean, a completely packed house. You know, the most receptive audience. Every C3PO line was getting a laugh. The biggest cheer of the evening was Han shooting Greedo. Because there is no question. Greedo's not even ready to shoot. Han just blasts him. There's no question. It's not a quick draw. It's murder.
It is.
Yeah.
He's a legit bad boy.
Yeah.
A true outlaw. Not this neutered, Disneyfied.
Yeah.
Yes, let's spin him off in a sequel, guy. No, it was great. There are moments. I mean, obviously, special effects are different and rougher and less choreographed. It's clear they assembled what they got in the edit. The edit is doing a lot of work.
For sure. Yeah.
It was great. It felt like a fairy tale. It still felt incredibly special. It still felt magic.
Right.
Did you see it in the theater in 77?
I saw it in the theater in 78 because my parents were not big cinema going people and were in no hurry.
So I would have
I saw the original print.
I'm like, I would have been 7 when I saw that. And
I
honestly,
would have been not alive.
Sorry, young blood.
Stay out of this.
I saw it on the finest VHS.
But the thing I remember, and I remember very little about being 7, but I remember just the scene of the land speeder going over the desert just blowing me away. And I mean, other stuff maybe blew me away a little more. I mean, the opening scene, of course, rewired my brain.
Still magic. And the fake out, because halfway through there's the hangar, and he goes over and you think, oh, that's the end of the ship, and then it's not. Oh, it's so good. They must have spent hours planning that shot.
Sure, yeah.
It is, yeah.
It's also interesting you mentioned you watched it the year after it came out, because I remember one of the things about film that has changed, obviously, is the theatrical screening time was a lot longer than it used to be. Like movies like Bonnie and Clyde took months to find an audience and then eventually became hits. But having a movie in a theater for 6 months or even a year later was not unusual back then. But obviously now it's like you got your 2 months.
And indeed, they were re-released. They would go out of the cinema.
Oh, yeah.
And then perhaps come back a month or two later, or for the school holidays, or for half term, or whatever. And it was that because my sister had seen it for her birthday, and that was spring 78. And I didn't get to see it till the summer.
Oh, so I might have seen it when I was almost 6.
A year later.
Yeah.
And seeing it when you're 6, that doesn't feel like it should be that big a difference than seeing it when you're 7, but it feels like it was a big difference. I don't know.
Interesting.
70. Before anyone gets nostalgic about the 70s, they were trash. And if you want to know how they sucked, just ask, and I can explain a number of ways.
Yeah. But man, that's really cool.
You didn't miss much, Ross.
All right, fair enough. I'm not.
Yeah.
If you weren't listening to funk music, there was no reason for.
Hey, funk music rules, though. All right,
right?
I'll give you funk.
That's what I was gonna say. That was the one good.
Bits of disco, Giorgio Moroder and Sparks.
Oh,
in particular,
yeah.
And punk and early electronic.
Yeah, great. So great music.
Now that the hype has died down, I feel like we can finally evaluate disco fairly. But
disco is the foundation of pretty much all contemporary pop music. Like, I mean, we would have
for good or ill. Yes.
Well, that and the Beach Boys. But so
did you see the thing about someone's like, man, imagine being Brian Wilson, where your artistic weight is so terrific that you can say your favorite movie is Norbit and the best song ever made is Shortening Bread, and thousands or millions of people go, oh, I gotta reconsider these. have I missed something?
Yep. So no, that's very cool.
That was Expo. I was behind a booth for I've never been behind a booth at Expo before, but because I'm talking to people about Big Table, this trade body I'm setting up for the UK and Irish industry, I was behind a booth for most of it, and it was great. I did some events as well. We did a fantastic State of the Industry panel, some other stuff, lots of rushing around. It's now also one of those shows where you have to cut off conversations with really interesting people because you have to go to dinner with other really interesting people. I'm not going to do my name drop, but yeah.
Come on, James. I got the drink right here.
Yeah.
Having to tell Chase Carter from Rascal News that I have to disappear from dinner without saying with Peter Atkinson and Matt Leacock. Is I wanted to in a big way, but Peter Atkinson is very well, and if he knew I was doing this, I'm sure would send regards.
Chase Carter wrote a nice piece about the UK Game Expo for Rascal News this week.
Rascal is kicking ass. If you're not subscribed,
he didn't say James. James Wallace was incredibly rude to me. Okay.
Yes, it was aside from So let's see here. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, you came world stage of megacons.
Chase lives over here now. He moved to the UK a few months ago.
Nice.
But yeah, Rascal is excellent. If you're not subscribed to Rascal and you're interested in industry news, the free feed is excellent, and occasionally there'll be an article and it just goes with, if you want to read this one, either you can pay a monthly subscription, or it's just like, if you want to read this article, it's $1, and that's a deal. It's very good. It's strong. Rascal, there is also a thing called Board Game Wire, which yes, it's more board game, but again, it's industry news rather than such and such is releasing an expansion for their hit game X. It's proper industry news and proper analysis by a guy who is a proper reporter on such things, and he does this. It's not his day job; it's his his side hustle. But yeah, Board Game Wire and Rascal. And in fact, they are working together on a few things. They're syndicating each other's content.
I'm gonna pull up Board Game Wire. I've not heard of Board Game Wire, so I'll have to start checking that out. I'm not as much into board games as I am to RPGs, weirdly enough. I do want to say
it is tabletop rather than board. It's just Board Game Wire is a nice snappy name.
Yeah. When you're talking about Rascal, I remembered another article I read recently, which is a very in-depth review of Impossible Landscapes. And it's someone, it's a very it's like 30, the whole review is like 3,500 words. So it's a pretty in-depth
Well, I mean, but Impossible Landscapes is a big lad. And part of me, I'm like, spoiler free. It's like, what would a spoiler for a Delta Green scenario? I'm like, you could have spoilers, but there's a part of me that's like, okay, you're not going to believe this, but everything is hopeless. There's no escape.
Yeah.
Well,
you will
go mad or succumb to despair.
Well, this review in particular, the author Thomas Manuel, who actually has a really good newsletter that I'm subscribed to about where he talks about RPGs. He ran the campaign like a version of Cthulhu Dark, I believe, and had all the player characters as artists. No one was a Delta Green agent, and it still worked really well. So it's a real interest. Yeah. So it's like, oh, you can really make it your own.
Try that with your favorite computer game. Try that with Into the Breach. Okay, we're going to play Into the Breach, but instead of mechs, we're going to try and go through these scenarios with a bunch of artists and podcasters.
Well, we're back to Cyberpunk now. We're all just three
podcasters
doing jobs.
The least effective player character party.
Yeah. But yeah, this review in particular talks about like how Impossible Landscapes is really like a character study as a campaign, because it's not about the choices you make, it's about how you react to them and what does it say about your character. So as one of the themes. Anyways, it's a really good article. Rascal News is great. And if you join, you get access to their Discord as well, which is a nice little community. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay. Any other insights from UK Game Expo, James?
That was the main one, really. Yeah. Except, if you're in the UK and are in the industry or are thinking of being in the industry, really, you should be there.
I might want to go next year. Yeah,
yeah, it's great. Yeah. The trick is that the hotels on the NEC campus are really expensive, as you would imagine, and sell out pretty fast. But Birmingham is literally between 5 and 10 minutes away by train. There's a whole bunch of sub £100 a night hotels in central Birmingham, and it's quite easy to stay there. And the trains run basically from early morning to late night. So stay in Birmingham and come into the show.
Wait, trains? Those are real? I thought they were just something they made up to.
I've seen them, Greg, in other lands. Cricket. It's possible, yeah.
No, you had trains, but you evolved beyond them or devolved beyond them. Over here in Europe, trains are still mass transit.
Yeah, we've degenerated to just a highway nation now.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah,
trains are only for coal and corn.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Greg, you have some news or a couple of things.
Well, should I talk about where I went today, or should I talk about
whatever you want? Yeah.
All right. Where I went today, I'll be brief about this because it's no King's Day in the United States, where there have been a series of nonviolent protests, and I went to the one in Rockford, Illinois, all I gotta say, it seemed cool. The people there were cool until the pro-life counter-protest march showed up, and I'm like, can't you guys not be parasites for just like one day? You can't see someone have a thing without showing up saying, "No, my thing." All the entire if I'd been thinking and had known they were going to be there, what I would have done to be a smart ass is count what percentage of the marchers were men. But yeah, all I can do is say, what a bag of dicks.
Yeah.
Other than that,
and it's a very right-wing cause. The forced birth movement is very much in bed with the anti-trans movement, because it's all about removing body autonomy from people and going, no, the state decides what you can do with your body, which usually means old men decide what you can do with your body.
Well, I mean, I saw a lot of old people at the thing. I'm like, if you think your old relatives are all conservative and won't get it, you didn't see me and my fellow white hairs, people there waving trans flags and for lack of a better word, being woke. I had a very positive experience. The cops kept it together. Nobody popped off, and I don't think we were under drone surveillance, so maybe we were just not important enough to be suppressed, but it was a very positive experience overall.
Great.
And then I came home and returned to my trifling life as a self-publisher, and I got the test print of my next self-published story collection, which was supposed to look something like this, and instead looks like this. So there is nobody to blame for this debacle but myself, because I, tried to save $1,000 by not having a professional lay it out. In my defense, the interior looks great. So
who'd you use as the printer? What is this from?
It's Drive-Through Fiction. It's Lightning Source. So
wow.
I think the entire problem is that in addition to learning how to create dialogue and build tension and do plots and create settings, I failed to also learn how to do InDesign. So
it's not a quick study.
No, it's not. Do you think it might be like a file formatting issue with like the cover art?
Probably. I got a guy I could talk to who's been, I have had nothing but first-rate customer service from Drive-Through Fiction and Drive-Through RPG, which maybe part of that is that I've been with them for like decades, but I can only talk to what I've experienced, which has been A+ first rate. So I'll talk to my dude and see if he's like, well, Greg, what happened was you took the fork and put it in the light socket, and that's not what forks are for, and it's not what light sockets are for. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
sorry to hear that anyway, man.
Well, at least it was a test print and not like 100 copies showing up.
The good news is I could have screwed myself so much worse. I could have just been piling burning coals on my own head through sheer incompetence.
Let this be a lesson. If you're self-publishing, always get a test print before you commit.
Test print.
Yeah.
Yes.
Always.
It is not cheap. It is worth it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. That's the difference between stubbing your toe and breaking your leg.
Yeah.
Because they're like subtle things you won't necessarily pick up, like how the paper stock feels or how the cover feels, and like maybe you want to change from glossy to matte or vice versa. And like is the barcode placed right, or just tons of the spine. God, the spine is usually getting the text.
Well, you can see because of the way it printed up, you can see where my
that's bang on.
Yeah.
Your entirely right black PDF. It just aligned
right
perfectly.
Between the uprights, except for not having any content.
Look, just pivot. Just make it like this is a mystery. This is like House of Leaves. You have to interpret this book. Yeah. Just
like
randomly. Block out some.
What was it? The bit in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy where the rock band crashes the incredibly black spaceship into the sun. They released a T-shirt for the Black Sun tour or whatever it was, and it was a black print on a black shirt.
Oh, it
was magnificent.
It was Spinal Tap too. Oh, well, this is like our Black album. It's like None More Black. I'm Spinal Tap now.
Yeah. So.
That we did have back in the Hogshead days. We did an edition. We reprinted Slay Industries as a soft cover, and it sold really well. And so we just ticked the reprint box on and sent the form back to the printer because this was the late 90s and that was the way you did business. Unfortunately, the person in the office who took the form also accidentally ticked or made a mark against the box that said hardcover. Now, when you take a book from softcover to hardcover, there's a whole bunch of you need to change the spine, the width of the PDF. We weren't even working in PDF. We were working in PageMaker documents at the time because PDF was a reliable format. You need to change the ISBN. The printer knows all of this, but we just went, no, if we just print it as a hardback, we can make another $5,000. So literally the hardbacks arrive in the warehouse, and that's the first thing we know. It's like, oh, God. So we just printed labels to go on the back over the existing barcode and ISBN and code and all, and the bit that said softcover to say hardcover. It's just printed labels. Laser print, and we just laser printed them in the office and sent these labels across to the warehouse. I think just a black cover with a laser printed label slapped on it, slightly crooked, would look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then I would have to, so the way I've been doing it, is in the Kickstarter, it's like, okay, don't back for the book, back to get the book at cost.
Mm-hmm.
When you do that,
Drive-Thru is doing
give you a code that you will be able to get it at cost through drive-through. So if you're in the US, you pay for it in dollars and you pay US shipping to the US. If you're in Europe, you pay for European shipping. And if you're in Australia, apparently they're printing in Australia now. And so
They print all over the
everybody,
world. Yeah.
it is so much faster and so much cheaper, and it doesn't get shipped twice. It only gets shipped once. I don't have to touch it. You don't have to see if I am better at managing shipping than I am at managing layout.
I made a mistake with the Base Raiders Kickstarter where I had as a more expensive option a autographed copy of the book, and then I realized, oh wait, that means I have to get the books, sign them, and then ship them back. And I was like, oh,
book plates. Book plates.
Yeah, I should have done that. Well, but like, well, I learned my lesson. So, but yeah, I definitely lost probably $500 in shipping between everything.
You could have done worse.
I could have done worse.
I have a very brief story kind of related to signed copies and stuff. Second edition Baron Munchausen was published by Mongoose, and they did 1,000 hardcovers in a faux black leather with gold lettering, and they sold out like that because the price was just almost nothing. And a while later, I still had a couple of copies on my shelf, and a charity auction came up, and so I went, I will sign, as the Baron, a copy of this to whoever buys it in the auction. And it went for like $350. And I went, that's ridiculous. I have to do something really special. Okay, I still have a second copy on the shelf. What shall I do? Okay, so this is going to be the longest book dedication I've ever done. Dear so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. Just literally right inside the inside front cover. All the way, fill all the blank space up to the title page around that. And then continued inside back, continues on the inside back cover, blah, 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 blah. And the bottom of that says, out of room, continues in next copy. Enclose the second copy of the book with the dedication continuing in there. I think he's paid $350 for this. He deserves to get two books at the very least.
Yeah,
so I was pleased. Yeah. He was pleased. That's the main thing. He was really happy.
Nice. We have a couple comments. Shame that TTRPG lost its printer in Poland, because that means we have to deal with the issue of UK to UE shipping, which is I'm kind of surprised that they don't have a continental printer, but I guess they figured, I don't know if they got it, set it up before Brexit, and it's like, it's fine, that'll cover everybody, and then it's like, shit,
it does precede Brexit.
They've been in the UK for decades.
And
I mean, I suspect a part of it is the English language market too. That I mean, there are I know there are people in Europe who buy, consume, and play English language games, but it's probably a smaller chunk. So
fair enough. And then shipping tricky, which is it sure is. Then I have a bunch of Greg's cloth patches. Make some with a signature embroidered and send those out as book plates. There we go.
Patrick first saying they still don't love print on demand. I think unless you know a bit about printing these days, it is hard to tell the difference. It is hard to tell a print
unless it's
cheap print on demand.
It's also like full color hardcovers are like the cost difference between print on So like if you want to actually make a profit and you want to do a full color interior with you can't really print on demand is just it's way too expensive to do that.
You can do, if it's softback, you can kind of do it.
I mean, I haven't looked at the margins.
Soft cover's not that bad. It won't look as good as an offset. But the problem with it's harder to be sure of what you're getting if nothing else. Well, that's another reason to get to go to print with people you trust and to get the
people you've used before, which is
the preprint print version. I mean, from the invisible costs on the publisher side include, storage and handling. If you're a small game company, you don't have a warehouse. It's going to go in somebody's basement or storage
Garage.
locker.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, who has at least a couple of boxes of their own books somewhere in their house or garage? Yay.
Literally right down there.
Not too many, not an unreasonable number.
Yeah. No, I binned a whole bunch because we pretty much printed to order with the Las Vegas, and then 2 or 3 months ago,
that's heartbreaking.
People that, well, the warehouse just came back to me and said we've got like 120 copies left. It's like, where? How did that happen? It's like, okay, send me a couple of boxes, and I put a thing up on the Discord.
Oh, that's right.
Got one. I would sign it and send it out. But yeah, I still have a couple of boxes left, which is probably about like 20. But the rest we pulp, and it is heartbreaking to pulp your own books. But it's that or pay warehousing costs for something that
forever
isn't going to sell.
Yeah, forever. That's
I'm realistic about this.
Yeah. I have a bunch of like my first book, Zombies of the World, that I need to get rid of, and I just haven't had the time or energy to do it. Yeah,
you just don't have the energy to break your own heart dealing with it.
Yeah.
So there was the comment about clay impregnated pages for Supergloss, and if you want a gorgeous book, hold on, let me grab the new Rain premiums as an example. Hold on.
Where is that?
If anyone was wondering what I was doing, it's been really hot in London today. This shed is hot. I just needed to reopen the door, which had swung closed.
Stuff like this.
You could use one of your boxes as a doorstop.
You have
get some use out of it.
A fox would then pee on it.
Oh,
but
terrible.
Knowing my luck.
If you use, if you're going for the gatefold GM screen and the faux leather look, you can't do that with.
Can you raise it up a little higher? Like chest height.
This is the same thing I was saying to James.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah. There we
go.
A bit. Ooh, pretty.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And but their Atomic Overmind has a warehouse. Greg Stolze does not.
Yeah. James was letting the ghosts of RPGs out of the room.
Don't tell everyone. Yeah.
Farewell, Slay Industry hardbacks. You may rest now. Go to the light.
I still have one on the shelf. They are good. I mean, the hardback came out really nicely. It turned out that people who had just bought the game in softback were then very happy to buy it in hardback as well because it was gorgeous. Exactly the same book. Man, I genuinely thought we were just going to have to eat the entire print cost of that. I thought it was going to be really. I think it was
I mean, premium full color hardback print on demand is.
Yeah, it's not economical. Yeah,
it's a tiny sliver of the market, and you're probably. I would guess you are probably better off. Like doing an offset print run. If you want to do something
offset
like
print
that.
run. If you want to do like the RPG as art object, that's like if you want to do Merkborg, like you can't. That's going to be a lot harder to do. It's not impossible. You could do a black and white cool thing like Fist does, but like you want full color, something really arty, really slick. Like it's offset. Like print on demand can't really do a Merkborg.
I mean, in my mind. Dying Breath, which I wrote ages ago and I've been trying to make happen.
Shepherd it along,
It's things are slow, everybody. In my mind, it's a 6x9 fake leather book. I mean, obviously, real leather would be preferable, but then we're just like, why don't I just buy a sofa and ship you a sofa while I'm at it? But with the silver embossed logo on the front, and that's all the book is, and the logo is like a tilted back screaming skull with vapor coming out of it, but small but classy, classy screaming skull.
Oh, yeah,
lovely.
So that's what I want, and that's print on demand is not going to do that.
Yeah.
So
I know. Like for me, the game I'm working on now, Labyrinth Signal, I'm definitely like for the first version of the rules, I'm definitely going to go for like a black and white zine look because I know I can do it print on demand in case I can't find a publisher who can do all the stuff for an offset run, because I'm not going to do an offset run myself again because it's just too much of a Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and it feels like we're getting to an excluded middle here, where it's like, okay, you're either gonna do this like the Mixam zines I've been doing for the Borgiou novellas, where it's like it's just black and white. There's no art. You know, the color is Greg is going to do a lino cut print and slap that on there. You might get one. You know, you might luck out and get a fancy one where he doodled the front. But, you know, it's that, or on the other end, it's Impossible Landscapes, where it's like, I challenge you, Tor. I challenge you, Penguin. I challenge you, Random House. Make a book that looks this good. You can't. You won't. You're afraid. You're too cheap. Bye.
Yeah.
Anyways, James.
Just as a point, it's I don't know if people know, I own all the rights to 3rd edition Munchausen, including all the art and all the layout, because Fantasy Flight sent me the wrong contract when we were doing the deal, and I did not tell them. But yeah, and that's how I've put the PDF out there of 3rd edition. But I cannot afford, or you rather, the Joe RPG buyer would not pay the price that I would need to price it at to print it through Drive-Through RPG or Drive-Through RPG books, or indeed Lightning Source, to make it viable for me as a commercial product, rather than something on which I want this to be out there and selling copies and I am making no money on it, which is not why commercial RPG designers design books. It is beautiful. It's full. If people haven't seen the 3rd edition, it's full color throughout. The cover was hardback. It had a spot varnish on it. Print on demand just can't do spot varnish these days. It's not up to those. It can't do 5th colors. It can't do metallics. It can't do anything that makes a book look a little bit fancy and special. Even the ranges of lamination. You've got
no gilt edges.
And
no
all of
book ribbon.
It's pretty basic in terms of the physics of putting the book together. They produce robust books, but they do not produce sophisticated books. There's no sewn bindings. It's a glued binding. If you want to do something that with a lay flat binding, that's not print on demand.
Dimitri's comment about Drive-Through raising their prices, I'm hoping that'll drop again. I mean, that's the tantrum tariff, right? Wood is now, most of our wood in the U.S., or a lot of it, comes from Canada. A lot of our woods, our print stock, apparently. Now that there's a tariff, it's like, also, now that our closest, most peaceful neighbor, all things were a pile of cocks, they're like, I want to sell my shit to the U.S. right now. Maybe you can just wait and think about what you did and eat a hamburger.
And Europe is going, bring your goods to us. We will pay good euros for it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you can't predict what will happen next. Like, it's very unpredictable. So
that's the other problem.
Except that
with the tariffs and everything.
Dumb.
Yeah, you can't plan because
there is no stability. There is no solid foundation on which to make a plan. I was talking to a chap called Tyler, who works for Panda, who are one of the major board game manufacturers in China. They're actually a Canadian company. I thought they were American. Turns out they're Canadian. And they own a factory in China, and they do an awful lot of this manufacturing. And there are manufacturers who, their game comes off the print, or had come off the thing, was being packaged up in a shipping container. The tariffs applied, and they just looked at the numbers and went, please destroy the entire print run, because that is the cheapest option for us. That is the option that loses us the least money.
Jeez.
I mean, that's American companies doing that, because the China America tariff is the worst. But it is having ripple-on effects across the entire tabletop industry, primarily board games and card games. But the whole infrastructure, because if distributors take a massive cash flow hit because the board games aren't there to sell, then they're not going to be able to buy role-playing games.
I have to think it would. Dimitri, I have to think it would be cheaper to just burn it conventionally or sink it.
The comment is nuke the container, and that is
it's like,
a little extreme.
Think a little farther ahead, just the environmental impacts.
And there are companies just buying up warehouse space in China, just warehousing their games until the situation returns to some kind of normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in other political, like economic and political news, like apparently they've just announced to halt all immigration enforcement at workplace sites, because it turns out the American economy utterly reliant on immigrant workers. So yay.
Who knew?
Shock.
Who knew?
Yeah, who knew? And who knows how long that'll last.
No, but none of us knew except anyone who paid attention and exercised critical thought at some point in the last 15 years.
Yeah, but in the last segments, I would like to mention something that I did.
But back to this.
So I got to run
Shadow
Dark.
Ooh,
and
yes. Now, how is that?
Yeah, Shadow Dark. For those who aren't familiar, it is a OSR game that came out last year. This is the big fancy book.
You know that I
won multiple Emmys. Yeah.
Before we got on, before we were streaming, I was talking about Dungeon Fantasy and how, I'm like, I feel like I've done what I need to with that. I feel I've gotten this much out of it, and I don't hate it, but I'm just like, I've been there. Show me something new. Seeing that book, this atavistic, no, I want to own that, just crawled out of my heart.
I might pick up a copy. I used the quick start guide, which is free. And what I did was there's a dungeon in it. And I had this idea of printing 2 copies of the map, and one, because there's a version of the map that is labeled and one that is unlabeled. So I printed out the unlabeled one, and every time the players went in the room, I just cut it out and put it on the table, so the players had sort of a visual reference to it. Nice. And it worked pretty well. So Shadow Dark is it's a very streamlined OSR style dungeon crawling RPG, and it works really well at the table. Like, it really players there's a lot of like push your luck sort of mechanics, where you are encouraged to keep going and not be too long, because like one of the most gimmicky things in it is that you literally put out a timer, a real life timer for
like a little a little egg timer, a little
like I use my cell phone.
Of course you use your cell phone.
And which didn't work out too well because my screen would turn off. So I had to keep but it like
not
basically
a problem you had with the egg
you
timer.
Light a torch, you have an hour of real time before the torch goes out. And you also have limited inventory slots, and each item you pick up counts as an inventory slot. So if you have a strength and your inventory slots is either 10 or your strength score, whatever's higher. And so you can only carry 10 items on there. And so and also for spells, you start out, spellcasting classes will get their spells, but they have to make a spellcasting roll with each time they cast a spell, and they keep the spell as long as they succeed. But when they fail, they lose that spell until they rest. So there's a risk every single time you cast a spell.
So it's I fizzled my ray of acid mortification. Now I can't acid mortify anyone
until you take a nap. There is a meta currency, the luck token, which is rewarded for players doing something cool or funny, and that just gives you a reroll and you can beat other people. But it's a very stripped down thing. You roll your stats, and then you get like a talent every other level, and it's randomly rolled what your talent is. And you get experience just for finding treasure and other rewards. You don't get experience for killing monsters, and you only need 10 experience times your current level in order to level up. So we leveled up in the session, and it worked really well. Players were really into it. Players got obviously I recorded it for RPPR, and you'll be able to listen to it at some point. But let's see here, gameplay. There's advantage, disadvantage. There's natural. If you critically fail casting a spell, there's a spell mishap table. Let's take a look at that. And there's also the crawl turn, where every time somebody doesn't, all the players take an action out of combat, and then and after so many turns, you make a check for random encounters, especially when it's dark. And Yeah, wizard mishap spells. Here we go. No one crit failed on this. We didn't have that, but it can devastation, explosion, refraction, your hand slit, mind wound, unstable conduit. So yeah, there's it's got some fun little things. So
you scream uncontrollably for 3 rounds in Primordial. What is Primordial?
I probably just one of the languages, probably the wizard or the magic tongue. I didn't. It's yeah.
Is uncontrollable screaming in a language? I would have thought it's just that's just screaming.
Yeah.
We don't need no consonants here. We're just screaming.
Yeah. So so if you want like a rules like game to kind of like the rules are minimalist and get out of the way of the actual game, it works really well. Like, I've also played a lot of 5th Ed in the last 6 months or so, the 2024 version, and at a certain point combat got really bogged down as people were running like all the feats and spells and things that were active, and this one is just like, let's go, and it worked really. I do plan to run a campaign for RPPR based on Ave Nox. Ave Nox is a fantasy mega dungeon that's system neutral, and I'll probably use Shadow Dark for it, because one thing, Ave Nox is really good art, but it explains this really cool setting where there's the civilization went underground because they thought the world was going to end, and they found a way to make themselves immortal, and they got weird over the last 500 years,
you do,
and now people have found them and like, well, let's go down and see what's happening there. And let's see here. So yeah, there's a story. There's even like quirks like interacting with ghosts of the dead people people who've died in the mega dungeon. There's even some technological elements where there's gas lines, natural gas, to power the lights. And then there's like keys and locks you can do to unlock different areas. And then there's a little pipe merchant. A little guy can pop out of little holes and sell you things. And so I really like Pipe Merchant.
That's very cool.
Are you gonna do a funny voice for him, Rock?
Obviously, yeah.
Hey, the Pipe Merchant.
Oh no! I'm definitely gonna go with the.
That's not the pipe. That's Squiggo the Goblin.
No.
I recognize that voice, that NPC.
No. I'm doing this guy. It's 100% the Resident Evil 4 merchant, which is the best merchant. Hello, stranger. What are you buying?
I've got some good things for you.
Yeah, I've got some good things for you. Yes. Hello,
the reply should be, how the hell are you surviving in this environment? And do you really think that it's a useful risk-reward thing to be trying to make a profit in case someone runs past and needs to buy some guns?
I love this. Is one of my favorite video game characters of all time. I love this guy. Hello, stranger. It makes no sense for him to be in here.
I'm trying to find the Oglaf. And if you haven't seen the comic strip Oglaf, about 80%, 70 to 80% of them are super horny.
Oh, yeah.
Very explicit. But every now and again, you get one that's a safe for work D&D gag. And there was one called Adventure Block. I
believe you referenced this one before, though.
Adventure Block really left a mark, and
it's a good one. It's worth googling
if I can find it.
Yeah. While you're searching, Greg, you mentioned Ross, you mentioned technological stuff within the dungeon, which reminded me of a weird thing that happened. I play a bunch of mobile games. I'm playing one at the moment called Foundation, which is based on the Asimov books and the TV series, though I've not seen the TV series. And it's just your fairly standard kind of strategy, build up your fleet, and the formula will be almost immediately familiar to anyone who's played this kind of thing, but it's really nicely done, and I'm in a good guild, and we were just chatting. We chat a lot, and some guy goes, "Oh yeah, I was playing D&D last night. I missed the thing." And I went, "Oh, what edition are you playing?" He went, "Oh well, playing this one at the moment, but I really like second," which immediately puts my hackles up because I hate second edition. But I'm the bigger man, so he goes, "But actually, I'm working with a couple of guys on a new edition of a thing that." They're bringing back to the market. And I wonder if this is a game I've heard of. Arduin Grimoire. He's working on a new edition of Arduin Grimoire. 1977. this. I mean, it was kind of an add-on to D&D. I mean, it was the D&D mechanics, but unintelligible as a game in its own right, though published as a game in its own right, and then has gone through multiple editions. And there's a team of these guys, one of whom is in my foundation guild, and they're bringing it back to market. I think they're planning to kickstart next year.
Man, time really is a flat circle.
It really is. Old role-playing games never die unless they were licensed, or the creator went mad, or there's a complicated legal reason why not. Everything old is new again.
God, it really is.
So yeah,
there an instance of Adventure Block in a live stream, and of course it's Gareth who finds it first.
Gareth probably has it bookmarked.
I put it in the private chat. Yeah. Look, would you rather have me mentioning that or like Chicago's Saturday in the Park? It's
there we go. So you got to. In fact, one of the in the Shadow Dark game I ran last night, one of the players was a wizard who had the charm person spell, and he charmed an Ettercap, which is a horrible little spider human thing, and he charmed him, and so that became Grisk, the Ettercap, who was like, hello guys, I'll help you now. We're best friends. And
hey guys, are we hanging out? I'll hang out.
Yeah, basically, like the spell duration Shadow Dark is 1d8 days, and my friend rolled 6 days. So this little horrible spider is like, hey, let's kill that Minotaur. He's got beef. We could eat it would be great. He's like, no, I don't like eating meat. Don't hit me with that. I like liquefied organs. Have you tried liquefied organs? Like, that's great. So yeah,
they're brilliant. So silly.
The thing about spell duration like that is you think, oh no, it's a cool guy. And the fourth day you wake up and your arms are bound to your side.
Yeah, exactly.
Your face. Yeah, because it's worn off.
So the players had a blast. I had a blast. So I'll definitely run Avenax on that.
I would,
but Ardra and Grimoire, wow, what a
into the.
I'm really interested to see what they've done with
these guys, man.
Yeah.
No, they're cool. They are not cool. You've clearly been charmed. You take that back.
Although speaking of the old stuff, I do let me go back to the let's see here. I don't know if you can read this. This is Lou Zaki's Guide to Rolling Good Numbers.
Man.
Yeah. What? How to Roll Winning Numbers by Lou Zaki. I found this in going through old stuff. For $2, I picked it. Do you have rotten luck? Do your dice seem cursed? If you'd like to be more successful at games, this book has all the answers. And what, like, a Mad Bomber manifesto is this? Like, look at this dense
This is
text.
like pickup artist shit for gamers.
No, this is not. This is
pickup dice artist.
Yeah,
I mean, in the sense of, well, if you're having trouble
deeply way weirder than that. Just look at this. Like on RPPR, we recorded one of the panels years ago. My friend Noah did that, and it's just it is.
What does it tell you to do, Ross? What does it say?
Oh, it's I don't know. What is this telling me to do? It's just a photo of dice.
I can tell you exactly what that is, because that used to be in their adverts. It's showing you that tumbled dice that have the edges smoothed off by tumbling, which was the fashion in the early 80s and still is to an extent these days. They are not a consistent size. So if you stack them up, if you stack a pile of D20s and then apparently an identical stack of 20s from the set, they will be different heights. But if you stack up Lou Zaki's polyhedral dice, 10d20 will be exactly the same height as the next stack of 10d20. His dice were absolutely consistent, and he was zealous about this. That's a manifesto you've got right there.
I know. I mean, everything I've ever heard or experienced with Lou Zaki had the, he would leave money on the table rather than make an inferior product, and it wouldn't even be close.
Have I told my story about
the dice have to be good? Good dice come first.
Have I told you the story my friend Caleb Stokes told about Lou Zaki? Years ago, Lou Zaki was at Gen Con, and Caleb was walking back to his hotel, and Lou Zaki was heading the same way. And this is on the sidewalks of downtown Indianapolis. And Lou Zaki just unprompted started ranting about his business partners cheating him, and he's like, I'm just gonna burn the warehouse down. And Caleb has not like said word one to this guy. He just like Luzaki just went and is like, he's cheating. I know he's ripping me off. I'm gonna burn the, if I get proof, I'm gonna burn the warehouse down. And Caleb was cool, man. That's no, you should definitely I hope he's not cheating you.
As a long-term Delta Green man, fire is a cleanser.
Yeah, it's so
Justin Achilles staggers out of an alley. Oh yeah, it does ag.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, there's like letters at the back of this. Dear sirs, please send your dice brochure and order forms for single orders. If you wholesale only, please send a list of retail. Yeah, September 5th, 1982. Dear Mr. Zakis,
I was 12.
Yeah. I bought this like five or 6 years ago. This is a pamphlet that was made in the early 80s. And it was addended. Like at the back, see this little vertical text? It says more than 70,000 gamers have gone to youtube.com and entered Luzaki to learn more about better dice. It's 5-star rated. So he updated it to add YouTube stuff. Yeah.
We were just complaining in the most recent episode that's gone out to back as the Rifts episode about the fact that in the Ultimate Edition of Rifts, which you can still buy today, there are still adverts for the 2005 Rifts video game, only ever released for the Nokia N-Gage.
Oh, God.
And if you know your video consoles, you've probably never owned a Nokia N-Gage, because there is absolutely no reason to, because it is not so much a console as the butt of jokes.
Oh, yeah.
It was, There's more in the show notes. Read the show notes for the Rifts episode. Oh man, at the time we made such fun of the N-Gage because it was a piece of crap, and most of its games were just really badly. In order to change the game cartridge, you had to not only take the back off the phone, you had to take the battery out as well, and then change the cartridge, put it all back together like a piece of Lego. Just what were they thinking? Anyway, and there's a double-page advert for this in the middle of Rift's Ultimate Edition,
and that's how you actually had to talk with an N-Gage. So it's pretty good.
What, with your eyes rolled back?
Well, with it on the side, there's literally a side talking website about phone. Side talking phone. Greg is just stunned by this. Probably a good time to end because we're already over an hour at this point. Thank you all so much. I am working on the next episode where we're talking about Jailbreak for Unknown.
Yes, my baby.
So that'll be done and posted next week.
And we're recording on Tuesday as well, the EABA episode, which I can't even remember what it stands for.
End all be all.
End all be all.
End all be all.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great Porter game. So it's it's at least from my reading so far, mechanically absolutely solid, but dense. Oh my lord!
I was going to use the word thorough.
I think also, that's the most over-engineered PDF I've ever encountered in my life.
Good lord! Yes.
Yeah. So a lot to talk about.
Y'all are not going to believe that you can click on the PDF dice for you, but you can click on the PDF and it rolls dice for you.
Yep. Amazing things you can do with the PDF.
On that note.
But thank you all so much for listening, for hanging out with us on the stream. We'll have this up on the public RSS feed pretty soon. Check out ludonarrativedissidents.com so you can sign up for our Discord and talk more about what we're doing.
Discord is fun.
That's about it. We'll after we get that episode, I'll be trying to catch up on editing because I'm several episodes behind. But this has now been just a year of season 3 now. We're definitely like over 2/3 done now. So we're making progress. Hopefully we'll be able to do season 4.
And I think we'll keep going with the live streams while the season continues. Certainly.
Sure.
The deal in the Kickstarter was we'd do a year's worth, but this is too much fun to stop.
Oh yeah,
I'm really enjoying it.
The live streams are fun. We'll talk to you all later.
And for any fathers out there, happy Father's Day for tomorrow.
Happy
Father's Day, everybody.